welcome back to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely bittersweet, historic, and honestly just thrilling July 4th showdown from the 2026 World Cup. For our co-hosts, Canada, a truly groundbreaking adventure has unfortunately come to a heartbreaking halt. But for Morocco, man, what an absolute masterclass. They've just punched their ticket to the quarterfinals for the second straight tournament after a dominant 3-0 victory down in Houston. So let's unpack exactly how it all went down. Okay, let's dive right into this because we have two totally incredible trajectories colliding here. On one side, you've got Canada, the first of the co-hosts to exit this year's edition. It wraps up a journey that literally ignited a football boom across their entire nation. And on the flip side, you've got Morocco, a team that's consistently proving their deep tournament runs are absolutely no fluke. They are marching on and they're ready to break even more new ground.
Part 1. The Quarterfinal Dream.
Stepping onto the pitch at an electric energy stadium in Houston, you have to look at the vastly contrasting momentum both of these squads were carrying. Canada had just survived the round of 32 with a wildly thrilling 92nd minute winner against South Africa. I mean, that was their first ever knockout win. Morocco, meanwhile, had just survived an absolute gauntlet. They dramatically eliminated the Netherlands in this incredibly tense penalty shootout, so both teams walked onto that Houston pitch with just sky-high confidence.
Part 2. A tense first half.
Well, right in the middle of some really solid early Canadian pressure, disaster struck for Morocco. We're talking the 21st minute, and their star forward, Ismail Saibari, the guy who scored the winning penalty against the Netherlands, he goes down in visible pain. It was a completely shocking moment. And if you follow European football, you know losing a newly transferred Bayern Munich talent like Saibari this early, it completely changes a manager's entire game plan. He was forced off the pitch, with Soufiane Rahimi having to step in cold. And honestly, this table right here brilliantly illustrates the gritty, physical reality of that first half. Look at that. 6 yellow cards handed out compared to only 5 total shots taken. It was an absolute battle of attrition out there. Canada actually controlled much of the early play. They started with incredible energy. Jonathan David and Tani Oluwaseyi both forced these massive, quick reaction saves from Morocco's goalkeeper, Yassine Bouno, but they just couldn't break through that resolute Moroccan defense. Going to the halftime break at 0-0, you could practically cut the tension with a knife.
Part 3. Ounahi takes control.
Coming out of the halftime locker room, Morocco immediately found another gear. That grinding stop-start nature of the first half just totally evaporated. The breakthrough came right in the 50th minute. And guys, it was a piece of absolute tactical brilliance. Achraf Hakimi was standing over a free kick, and everyone expects him to float it into the box, right? Instead, he delivers this clever, crisp cutback pass. Waiting for it is Azzedine Ounahi, who unleashed this magnificent spinning, low right-footed shot from outside the box that somehow sliced perfectly through all the traffic.
That brilliant set-piece routine rocketed straight into the bottom right corner. The Canadian goalkeeper, Maxime Crepeau, literally had zero time to react. 1-0 Morocco. And with their tournament lives officially on the line, Canadian head coach Jesse Marsch immediately reacted. He threw everything forward. He brought on Saïlé Larin, Jacob Schaffelberg, and Promise David, in a really desperate, frantic push to find an equalizer.
Part 4. Diaz and Rahimi striked. So Canada pushed bravely, but stretching themselves thin at the back in search of that tying goal left them seriously vulnerable. In the 82nd minute, Morocco hit them on a lightning-fast counterattack. Brahim Diaz played a pass that took a slight deflection, but it didn't faze the Girona midfielder Azzedine Ounahi one bit. He collected the ball and composedly slammed home his second goal of the night, securing his brace and, effectively, breaking Canadian hearts. With just 8 minutes left on the clock, a 2-0 mountain was just way too high to climb. And the final crushing blow arrived deep into stoppage time, 97th minute, and Brahim Diaz is at it again. He perfectly set up substitute Soufiane Rahimi, yep, the same guy who came on for the injured Saibari way back in the first half. Rahimi ruthlessly punished a tired, completely stretched Canadian defense to make it 3-0, capping off a massively satisfying and dominant result for the Atlas Lions. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this massive number 4 right here. Because that final pass in stoppage time, it wasn't just another assist, it was literally history. Brahim Diaz set a brand new African record with his 4th World Cup assist. He's been this consistently creative force throughout the entire tournament, and hitting this milestone just totally solidifies his vital role in Morocco's success.
Part 5. Canada's historic journey.
Because look, a team's story, especially for a nation that had literally never won a World Cup match before this tournament, is absolutely not defined by a single loss against a world-class opponent. Just look at how this tournament built a legacy of incredible milestones for the co-hosts. They earned their first ever World Cup point with a really brave draw against Bosnia. They secured their first ever World Cup win by thrashing Qatar 6-0, featuring a David hat-trick. They reached the knockout stages for the very first time. And of course, they secured their first ever knockout win with that dramatic 92nd minute goal by Steven Eustáquio against South Africa. This isn't a story of defeat. It's a story of unprecedented, compounding achievements. Actually, as head coach Jesse Marsh perfectly summed it up after the match, Canada fuels football boom with World Cup run. There is massive, massive pride in reaching the last 16. This dream isn't over, it is a foundation. The experience they gained here promises an even stronger, far more battle-tested Canadian squad when we look ahead to 2030 and 2034.
Part 6. Morocco's next big test. Now, as for Morocco, they are no longer a dark horse. We need to stop using that term. After eliminating Spain and Portugal in 2022, and now navigating a draw with Brazil, eliminating the Netherlands, and dismantling Canada 3-0 in 2026, they are the real deal. They are consistent giant killers. But taking stock of their status right now shows a bit of a mixed bag. On the plus side, Azzedine Ounahi has emerged as a breakout hero with his brace, and Brahim Diaz is making history with his creativity. But the glaring, unavoidable question mark is the health of their star striker, Ismail Saibari. Yes, Rahimi played fantastic coming off the bench, for sure, but Saibari's absence could be highly, highly significant in the next round.
Because just look at what awaits them. Morocco is heading to Boston on July 9th for the quarterfinals, setting up a completely monumental clash against France. For those of you who remember, France defeated Morocco 2-0 in the 2022 World Cup semifinal. So now we get the rematch we've been waiting for. With injuries piling up but history on the line, can the Atlas Lions shock the world and slay yet another giant? Thank you so much for watching this explainer. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below, and we will definitely see you next time to find out.